What's up everyone, my name's Elsa and today we have a full body circuit and we are going to be using some light dumbbells. I have 4-pound weights. You can go with dumbbells, you could go with like 2 water bottles, 2 wine bottles, whatever you want to do, right? 2 cans, whatever works, right? Mine are about 4 pounds. You can go heavier, lighter, depending on what you feel you want and where you feel you're at. So let's get into it, right? Here are my weights. So our first exercise is going to be a front raise. So what that looks like is we are tucking our bum under, engaging our core. So we're in a nice upright body position, right? We're not gonna start leaning back or arching really bad, right? So we're just gonna be like this. And then we are just, palms are gonna be down and you're just gonna lift your arms until about shoulder level and bring them down. We lift and we lower. Nice and under control, right? I'm not like swinging my arms up. I'm lifting under control and lowering under control. I'm gonna show you from this side. So 10 of these guys, right? Lifting under control, lowering. Lift and lower. If you have lighter weights that you wanna use for these, you can use the lighter weights for these. It is totally up to you. It's totally whatever feels good for you. If you want to drop the weights, go for it. Drop the weights. Remember to breathe. Once you hit 10 of those, we are going to come into a fly, right? So we're gonna go straight out to the side. I'm not gonna have us hinge forward for this one. We're just gonna lift up. It could also be like a T, that could be what it's called too. So you are gonna pull your shoulders down out of those ears, lifting straight out to the side and lowering down, right? Still in that stacked body position, lowering. If you cannot get all the way up to your shoulder height, totally fine. Lift as far as you can. Again, not throwing the weights up really quickly. We are lifting and lowering. You'll feel the difference. Lift and lower. 10 of these. Lift, lower. If you need to adjust pace, if you need to adjust the weight that you're using, if you need to drop the weight, go for it. Do whatever you want to do. Lift. Perfect. Once you have hit your 10, we are going to do a hammer curl. So a hammer curl is like a bicep curl, but instead of having your palms facing up, your palms are gonna be facing each other, right? So your hands are right by your side and you're gonna lift and you're gonna lower. Lifting all the way up, bending your elbows and lowering, right? Your elbows are tight to your rib cage. And again, you're not just throwing them up like this and swinging your arms. You're keeping it nice and controlled. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. If you only have one weight or you want to do like one heavier weight, do one arm at a time. Totally cool. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Once you have done 10 of those, we are gonna come down onto the floor and we are gonna do a floor press. So let's do it. We're gonna come onto the floor, I would use like a mat or a towel or a blanket if that's something that you have access to. If not, the floor is totally fine. I'm gonna do this with bent knees so I can press into the ground with my feet. And what we're gonna do, you're gonna start with your elbows about 45 degrees away from your rib cage, right? So they're not fully at 90 degrees, they're not fully touched, they're somewhere in between. Your wrists are gonna be locked out, right? They're not curving forward, not curving back, they're just in a nice straight line. You're gonna drive through your feet and you're gonna press up, so like a bench press, and you're just gonna lower it nice and under control. Press and lower, right? Using your feet becomes a lot more important once you do a heavier weight, but for this, still good to practice using your feet, right? For when you do a heavier weight. Lift. Lift. Lower. Lift. Ten of these guys too. And again, nice and controlled. Lift. And lower. And you're still keeping your weight up. The tendency is like swing them down towards your body, swing them out, just keep them straight, pressing straight up, not pressing towards your face, not pressing towards your legs, pressing straight up and lowering. You could always start these without a weight if you are not comfortable using a weight for them yet, right? Our next exercise is going to be a reverse lunge. I'm gonna drop the weights. You can keep your weights if that is what feels better for your body, right? It's about what feels good for you, not what feels good for me. So we are gonna take a step back and drop into that lunge and step back up. Take a step back, drop into that lunge and step back up. You don't have to go all the way down to the ground, and if you do, do it with control even more than I just did. But our goal is 2 90-degree angles and coming back up, right? Coming back up with control. If balance is something that challenges you, it personally does challenge me, then you can take a step back and just start dropping into that lunge and standing back up. Dropping into that lunge, standing back up. Just like that. Totally up to you. Again, whatever feels good for your body. If you want to use the wall for support and do the step back, you are welcome to do that too, right? Once you hit 10 on one side, jump right into 10 on the other side. If you want to do them as alternating, totally okay. You can do them as alternating. It is up to you, right? So we take a step back, drop into that lunge, step back, drop into our lunge, step back. Like for me, that was too small of a space. It's just about figuring out what works for you and adjusting, like, see, my balance. So for me today, the best option is probably to go straight down, straight up once I find that adequate spacing for me and feels good for me. You probably are gonna wanna step off of your mat for this portion. That can be super, super helpful. Sometimes mats slide around and make things a little bit more complicated, yeah. Like that feels better. And see, it took me 3 lunges to adjust to that point. Totally fine, take it at your own pace. Adjust where you need to, you're fine. You're all good. Our next exercise is going to be a Romanian deadlift. So we're using our light weights for these. You don't have to if you've never done them before. Yeah, totally up to you. Feet are going to be about hip width apart. Yeah, I would say hip width apart. You are gonna have the weights flat. Your palms are gonna be facing you. And you're gonna hinge your hips back. So what that means is you're gonna be looking forward, right? Looking forward, your back is gonna be arched. It's not gonna be rounded. And you're just gonna send your booty back and stand up, right? You're just letting the weights come down and standing up. Letting the weights come down, standing up, right? You're not like squatting down with them. You're hinging your hips back and then standing up. If you've never done it before, totally drop the weights and then you can just keep your arms flat and just hinge until you can tap your booty with the wall, right? Finding that spacing instead of having weights in your hands and trying to like squat and not understanding what you're doing, right? Totally fine. Deadlifts and hinge motions can be super challenging at first and a thing that takes a long time to get. It took me a very, very long time to be able to do like any kind of deadlift. So definitely something that we can practice and work on. Yeah, totally. Nothing is out of reach, right? It's just a matter of practicing and wanting it, right? Believing in yourself. Once we have finished the 10 deadlifts, we are restarting our circuit. So you can take a sip of water, take a breather, shake out your shoulders, roll your neck, shake out your legs, do whatever feels good for you, right? I'm gonna pick back up my weights and then we can head back into our little series, right? So we are gonna start with the front raises, right? Shoulders are down out of our ears, palms are facing down, and we are lifting and we're lowering. Ha. We're lifting and lowering. Ha. Lifting and lowering. Ha. Lifting, lowering. Ha. 10 of these, right? And from the side, it's gonna look like this. Lifting, lowering. We're just going to shoulder height. You don't have to go past that, right? And if you can't make it to shoulder height, totally fine. Drop down the weights, right? Go with a lighter set of weights. All good. We lift, lower. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Once we have finished those ones, you can shake them out. You can drop the weights for a sec. Do you. And then we are gonna go into our flies. So again, your feet can stay in the same position. Arms are gonna be straight, shoulders are down out of your ears. And you're just gonna lift out to the side and lower. Lift, lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Again, trying to cap it off at shoulder height, just like that, right? So it's not all the way up overhead. We're not swinging up. We are raising and lowering with control. Yeah. So lift. Going out whatever pace feels good for you. Okay, rolling those out. Once we are done with that, we are going into our hammer curls. So for our hammer curls, palms are facing each other, right? Unlike a bicep curl where palms face out. So palms are facing each other, elbows tucked right tight to the rib cage, and we are just lifting with control and lowering it. Lifting with control and lowering it. Lifting with control, 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 lowering it. 10 of these. Once you have done your 10, we're gonna come right back down to the ground and we're gonna do our floor presses, right? So keeping those weights. We are gonna drop down to the mat. Feet are gonna be bent and hip width apart. Pressing our back into the ground, pressing our feet into the ground. Elbows are gonna be about 45 degrees from your rib cage, right? Not super tucked, not all the way out. And then we are pressing through our feet, lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering. We're helping our wrists by not letting them go out, not letting them cave in, keeping everything nice and stacked. Lift and lower. We're doing 10 of these. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Once you have done all 10 of those, guys, we're gonna hop back up onto our feet. I'm gonna set my weights aside. You can keep your weights if you want. And we are gonna do our reverse lunges, right? So for the reverse lunge, taking that step back, dropping down into our lunge, standing back up, right? 10 of these per side. And again, if stepping back each time doesn't feel good, just drop it down, right? Just like that, right? And then we can go ahead and switch sides. So for your other leg, again, taking a big old step back, dropping into that lunge and standing up. You can slide that front foot forward if you feel like your spacing is gonna be off, or adjust where your back foot landed. Right, again, or find the stance that feels better for you. See, there goes my balance. And then we're gonna lower, lower, once we have done all of those 10 per side, we're gonna grab our weights again, if the weights feel good to you, and we are gonna do our little deadlift, right? Romanian deadlift. So again, feet are hip width apart, dumbbells drop straight down, palms are facing you, looking forward, hinging, sending that booty back, and standing up nice and tall. Hinging, keeping our back nice and flat, right? Not rounding our spines at all. If you feel like you're going too low and your back is gonna start to round, then don't go that low, right? Next time around, instead of going all the way down, stop at your knees, right? Go a little bit past your knees, whatever feels right for you. And again, our option was we can drop our weights and we can come right up to a wall, about 10 inches, a foot away from it, sending our booty back till we hit the wall and coming back up, adjusting the spacing as needed. So by the time you hit the wall, you're feeling a stretch in the back of your hamstrings, right? Right, we're not squatting down in order to get there, right? You see how that was two separate movements? We're just bending forward, just like that. Right, so 10 of these guys. Whatever feels good for you. I'm gonna do 2 more. And last one. Once you have finished those, you can set your weights off to the side because you are done. That is it for this video. If you want to keep repeating the circuit, keep repeating the circuit. If you want to call it a day, feel free to call it a day. I am Elsa, and I hope you enjoyed the class, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.